Hello, my name is Brendan, and this is Irish Fantasy Sleep Stories, where I hope that through the power of storytelling, I can guide you to a good night's sleep. If you would like to support my channel, please do click the like and subscribe buttons below. Tonight we rejoin Whisper the cat and Finn the druid for A Cat in the King's Court, where they team up to uncover the mysterious disturbances plaguing the king's sleep. Through keen observation and clever teamwork, the loyal cat and his human companion solve a royal mystery, forging a partnership that earns them a special place in the kingdom. Make yourself comfortable, relax, and enjoy tonight's story. A Cat in the King's Court. In a tranquil clearing nestled deep within an ancient forest, there stood a quaint cottage with a thatched roof and walls of weathered stone. This was the home of Finn the druid and his faithful companion, Whisper the cat. Soft green moss crept up the cottage's sides, and fragrant herbs grew in abundance around its wooden door. Inside the cottage was a cosy haven, filled with the gentle aroma of dried flowers and herbs hanging from the rafters. Shelves lined the walls, laden with worn books of ancient lore, mysterious potions, and curious artifacts. A hearth in the corner radiated warmth throughout the single room, casting flickering shadows that danced across the wooden floor. Finn, with his kind eyes, spent his days tending to the forest and its creatures. He would rise with the sun, stepping out onto the dewy grass to greet the morning. Whisper, a sleek ginger cat with emerald eyes, was always by Finn's side. His feline grace complemented Finn's measured movements, and his keen senses often alerted the druid to things unseen. Where Finn communed with plants and trees, Whisper's domain was the world of small creatures, mice, birds and insects that populated the forest floor. Together they formed an inseparable team. Finn's deep wisdom and magical knowledge blended seamlessly with Whisper's curiosity and instinctual understanding of the natural world. When Finn brewed potions, Whisper would often nudge specific herbs towards him, somehow knowing exactly what was needed. And when Whisper's attention was caught by something in the forest, Finn knew to pay heed, for it often led to important discoveries. As evening fell, they would sit by the fire, Finn in his worn armchair, and Whisper, curled contentedly in his lap. The druid would softly recount tales of old to his feline friend, their peaceful companionship a soothing balm to the day's end. As the first light of dawn painted the sky in soft hues of pink and gold, a gentle tapping at the cottage window roused Finn from his slumber. Whisper, already alert, peered curiously at the source of the sound. A regal-looking falcon perched on the windowsill, a scroll tied neatly to his leg. Finn carefully untied the message, his fingers tracing the royal seal before breaking it. As he read, his eyebrows rose in surprise. "Well, Whisper," he murmured, "it seems we've been summoned by the High King himself." The cat's ears perked up, sensing the importance of the moment. The message spoke of the king's troubled sleep and strange noises in the night, requesting Finn's druidic expertise to solve the mystery. Finn stroked his chin thoughtfully, while Whisper stretched and yawned, ready for a new adventure. With practiced efficiency, Finn began to prepare for their journey. He gathered herbs and potions, carefully wrapping delicate glass vials in soft cloth before placing them in his worn leather satchel. Ancient tomes were selected with care, their wisdom potentially crucial for the task ahead. Whisper, sensing the excitement, darted around the cottage, collecting small trinkets he deemed essential: a shiny pebble, a feather, a length of twine. As Finn donned his forest green cloak, Whisper leapt onto his shoulders, draping himself around the druid's neck like a living scarf. With a final glance around their cosy home, Finn stepped out into the misty morning air, locking the door with a whispered spell. Their journey took them through the heart of the ancient forest, along paths known only to the most seasoned woodsmen. Finn's staff tapped a steady rhythm on the forest floor, while Whisper's keen eyes scanned the undergrowth, occasionally leaping down to investigate an interesting scent or sound. As they emerged from the forest's embrace, the landscape opened up into rolling hills and meadows. Villages dotted the countryside, and as word spread of the druid's passage, curious onlookers gathered to catch a glimpse of the legendary figure and his feline companion. The days passed in a gentle rhythm of walking and resting. Finn would share stories of the land's history with Whisper, who listened with rapt attention. At night, they slept under the stars, the cat's purrs mingling with the druid's soft snores. Finally, as the sun began to set on the 5th day of their journey, the majestic spires of the High King's castle came into view. Its stone walls glowed golden in the fading light, a beacon of hope and mystery. Finn paused, taking in the sight, while Whisper's tail twitched with anticipation. A great adventure was about to begin. As Finn and Whisper approached the castle, its true grandeur became apparent. Towering walls of smooth, pale stone rose before them, adorned with intricate carvings of ancient battles and mystical beasts. Pennants of rich blue and gold fluttered atop pointed turrets that seemed to pierce the very sky. The massive oak doors, reinforced with gleaming iron bands, stood open in welcome, guarded by knights in polished armour. Crossing the drawbridge over a serene moat, Finn and Whisper entered a bustling courtyard. Scents of fresh bread and fragrant herbs wafted from the kitchens, while the rhythmic clanging of the blacksmith's hammer echoed off the stone walls. Stable boys led magnificent horses to and fro, and colourfully dressed courtiers hurried about their business, casting curious glances at the druid and his feline companion. A steward, dressed in royal livery, greeted them with a deep bow. "Master Finn, His Majesty awaits you in the throne room," he said, gesturing towards a grand staircase. As they ascended, Whisper's eyes darted everywhere, taking in the tapestries depicting great deeds of old, suits of armour standing silent sentinel, and the soft glow of countless candles in ornate sconces. The throne room was a marvel of architectural splendour. Soaring columns supported a vaulted ceiling painted with celestial scenes, while tall windows of stained glass cast colourful patterns across polished marble floor. At the far end, upon a dais of 7 steps, sat the High King on his throne of carved oak and gold. King Aldrich was a man in his prime, with a strong build and a face that spoke of both wisdom and kindness. A golden crown rested upon his brow, but dark circles under his eyes betrayed his exhaustion. As Finn approached and bowed, Whisper remaining draped across his shoulders, the king's face brightened with hope. "Master Finn," the king's voice was warm but weary, "I thank you for answering my summons with such haste. And who is this charming companion?" he added, noticing Whisper's attentive gaze. "This is Whisper, Your Majesty," Finn replied, giving the cat an affectionate scratch. "He is as much my partner as my pet, and I hope you'll find his presence here helpful." The king nodded, a small smile tugging at his lips. I welcome you both. Now, to the matter at hand. For weeks I have been plagued by strange noises in my bedchamber at night. They start as soft scratches and rustles, barely perceptible, but as the night wears on, they grow louder. Taps and creaks. Finn listened intently as the king continued. My guards have searched the room thoroughly, finding nothing. The court magician has cast revealing spells to no avail. I fear... Here, the king's voice lowered. I fear it may be a haunting, or worse, a curse, laid upon me by enemies of the realm. The druid stroked his chin thoughtfully. These are troubling tidings indeed, your majesty. Rest assured, Whisper and I will investigate thoroughly. We shall begin our work immediately, if it pleases you. King Aldrich nodded gratefully. You have my thanks, and the full run of the castle. Whatever you need shall be provided. I only ask that you work quickly, for the sake of my sleep and the kingdom's peace of mind. As they were led to the royal bedchamber, Whisper's whiskers twitched with excitement. A mystery was afoot, and he was eager to begin the hunt. The royal bedchamber was a spacious room befitting a king, with high ceilings and large windows that offered sweeping views of the kingdom. Heavy velvet curtains in deep burgundy framed the windows, while ornate tapestries adorned the walls, depicting scenes of legendary hunts and victorious battles. At the centre of the room stood an enormous four-poster bed, its dark wood gleaming in the soft light of numerous candles. Finn began his investigation methodically, his eyes scanning every corner of the room. Whisper leapt from his shoulders, padding silently across the plush carpets, his nose twitching as he took in the unfamiliar scents. The druid ran his hands along the walls, feeling for any irregularities or hidden passages. He examined the fireplace, peered behind tapestries, and even got down on his hands and knees to inspect under the bed and various pieces of furniture. As Finn worked, he muttered softly to himself, occasionally addressing Whisper. No sign of physical disturbance, my friend. Whatever is causing these noises, it's not leaving any visible traces. Next, Finn turned to his druidic arts. From his satchel, he produced a small pouch of finely ground herbs, a mixture of sage, lavender, and rowan berries. With practiced movements, he began to sprinkle the mixture in a wide circle around the room, chanting softly in an ancient tongue. The herbs released a fragrant smoke that curled upwards, filling the air with a soothing aroma. A purification ritual, Finn explained to Whisper, who watched with rapt attention. If there are any malevolent spirits present, this should reveal them or drive them out. As the smoke dissipated, Finn frowned slightly. There had been no reaction, no sudden chill or ethereal manifestation that might indicate a haunting. Undeterred, he moved on to a more complex spell. From another pouch, he produced a handful of polished river stones, each etched with mystical symbols. He placed these at key points around the room, under the bed, by the window, near the door, all the while intoning words of power that seemed to vibrate in the air. "A detection web," he murmured to Whisper. "If any magical energies are at work here, these stones will resonate and guide us to their source." Hours passed as Finn worked tirelessly, employing various rituals and spells from his vast repertoire of druidic knowledge. He cast divinations using a bowl of clear water, attempting to scry for any hidden presences. He burned sacred herbs and waved a wand of rowan wood through the resulting smoke, seeking to reveal any invisible entities. As the sun began to set, casting long shadows across the room, Finn finally paused, wiping his brow. Whisper, who had been alternating between watching Finn intently and conducting his own silent explorations of the room, came to sit at the druid's feet, looking up at him expectantly. "Well, my furry friend," Finn sighed, "I must admit, I'm somewhat perplexed. There are no clear signs of a haunting or malevolent presence. The magical detection spells haven't revealed any curses or ongoing enchantments. There are a few possibilities, Whisper. It could be a very subtle form of magic that's eluding my detection. Perhaps a mischievous spirit that's skilled at hiding its presence, or..." He paused, considering. "It could be something entirely natural that's simply eluding our understanding." Whisper meowed softly, as if in agreement with the last point. "You're right, of course," Finn nodded. "We shouldn't rule out non-magical explanations just yet. But if it is natural, why haven't the King's guards been able to find the source?" As darkness fell outside, Finn lit more candles around the room. "I think, Whisper, that we need to experience these nocturnal disturbances for ourselves. With your keen senses and my magical awareness, perhaps we'll be able to unravel this mystery." Whisper's tail swished in anticipation as Finn settled into a comfortable chair, prepared for a long night of vigilant observation. The cat leapt onto the windowsill, his emerald eyes scanning the darkening room. Together, they waited for the strange noises to begin, ready to uncover the truth behind the King's dilemma. As night deepened and Finn settled into his vigil, Whisper's curiosity began to get the better of him. The cat's emerald eyes darted between Finn, now deep in meditation, and the slightly ajar door of the royal bedchamber. With silent grace, Whisper slipped from the windowsill and padded softly across the room. He paused briefly at Finn's feet, but the druid, lost in his trance, didn't stir. Whisper squeezed through the narrow opening and out into the torchlit corridor beyond. The castle at night was a different world, full of shadows and whispers. The cat's keen senses were on high alert as he began his exploration. His paws made no sound on the cold stone floors as he navigated the winding hallways, guided by scent and instinct. His first encounter was with a young serving girl carrying a stack of freshly laundered linens. She gasped softly at the sight of the cat, then smiled. "Hello, little one. Are you the druid's cat?" she whispered, careful not to disturb the sleeping castle. Whisper allowed her to scratch behind his ears before continuing on his way, his tail held high. His journey took him to the guard barracks next, where off-duty soldiers relaxed and played dice games. One grizzled veteran noticed Whisper and raised an eyebrow. "Well, what have we here? A four-legged spy?" he joked, reaching down to pet Whisper. The cat allowed the attention, his purrs eliciting smiles from the tough soldiers. "That's the druid's cat, you dolt," another guard chimed in. "Show some respect. I hear that beast is near as magical as its master." Whisper preened at the compliment before slipping away once more. As he prowled the upper levels of the castle, Whisper's attention was caught by a door left slightly open. Peering inside, he found himself in a vast library. Moonlight streamed through high windows, illuminating towering shelves filled with books and scrolls. The scent of old parchment and leather bindings filled the air. To Whisper's surprise, he wasn't alone. An elderly man in robes sat at a large desk, poring over an ancient tome by candlelight. This, Whisper realized, must be the court magician the king had mentioned. The old man looked up, his eyes widening at the sight of Whisper. "Ah, the druid's companion," he said softly. "Come to do a little research of your own, have you?" Whisper approached cautiously, curious about the magician's work. The old man chuckled. "I don't suppose you can tell me what's troubling our good king, can you?" "No, I thought not. Still, I wouldn't underestimate you. There's wisdom in those eyes of yours." After a friendly pat on the head, Whisper left the magician to his studies and continued his exploration. As the night wore on, Whisper visited the castle's many nooks and crannies. He peered into the royal treasury, its glittering contents guarded by alert sentries. He crept along the battlements, feeling the cool night breeze ruffle his fur as he gazed out over the sleeping kingdom. In a secluded tower, he even stumbled upon a secret rendezvous between a young noble and a kitchen maid. Their whispered declarations of love bringing an amused twitch to Whisper's whiskers. Throughout his journey, Whisper remained alert for any signs of the mysterious noises that had been plaguing the king. His sensitive ears picked up the usual sounds of a castle at night: the creaking of old timber, the soft snores of sleeping inhabitants, and the occasional scurry of a mouse, but nothing out of the ordinary. As the first light of dawn began to creep over the horizon, Whisper realized it was time to return to Finn. He made his way back through the maze of corridors, his mind full of the sights and sounds he had experienced. Though he hadn't solved the mystery, he felt he had gained a deeper understanding of the castle and its inhabitants. Slipping back into the king's bedchamber, Whisper found Finn still in his meditative state, though the druid's eyes opened as soon as the cat entered. A knowing smile played on his lips. "Had a good adventure, did you?" he asked, reaching down to scratch Whisper behind the ears. "I hope you've brought back some useful insights, my friend. We've got a puzzle to solve, and I have a feeling your nocturnal explorations might prove just as valuable as my magical investigations." Whisper purred contentedly, curling up at Finn's feet. As sleep finally claimed him, his mind whirled with all he had seen and heard. Somewhere in this vast castle, the answer to the king's troubles lay hidden, waiting to be discovered. As the days stretched on, Finn's determination to solve the mystery only grew, matched equally by his mounting frustration. Each night brought the same puzzling disturbances, yet every attempt to uncover their source proved fruitless. The druid's efforts became increasingly elaborate. One evening, he filled the royal bedchamber with a network of shimmering magical threads, each designed to vibrate at the slightest supernatural disturbance. Another night, he summoned spirits of the air, beseeching them to reveal any hidden presences. He even attempted a complex ritual involving a circle of candles, rare herbs burned at precise intervals, and incantations in languages so ancient that even Finn struggled to pronounce them correctly. Yet for all his magical exertions, the noises remained as elusive as ever. Scratches, rustles, continued to plague the king's nights, always seeming to come from just beyond the reach of Finn's spells. Desperate for new insights, Finn turned to the castle's vast library. He spent long hours poring over dusty tomes of magical lore, searching for any mention of similar phenomena. Whisper often kept him company, curled up on a stack of books, or batting playfully at a quill as Finn scribbled notes. "There must be something we're missing," Finn muttered one evening, rubbing his tired eyes. "Perhaps a type of spirit unknown to modern druids, or a curse so subtle it defies normal detection." Whisper meowed softly, as if in encouragement. Despite the lack of progress, King Aldrich remained patient and grateful for Finn's efforts. Their discussions, however, grew increasingly somber. "I fear I'm failing you, Your Majesty," Finn admitted during one such meeting. "For all my knowledge and power, this mystery continues to elude me." The king sighed, the dark circles under his eyes more pronounced than ever. "You haven't failed, Master Finn. Your dedication is beyond question. It's just—" He trailed off, gazing out the window at his kingdom. "The lack of sleep is taking its toll," Finn finished gently. Aldrich nodded. "It's not just me. The entire castle is on edge. Rumours are spreading among the people. Some say the castle is cursed, others that I've somehow lost divine favour. If we can't resolve this soon, I fear for the stability of the realm." Finn straightened, determination etched on his face. "I swear to you, Your Majesty, I will not rest until I've solved this riddle. Whatever power, whatever entity is behind these disturbances, I will uncover it." As he left the king's presence, Finn's mind was already racing with new ideas. Perhaps it was time to combine his druidic magic with other forms of mysticism. The court magician might have insights he had overlooked, and Whisper's nightly explorations might yet yield a crucial clue. "Come, my friend," he said to the cat perched on his shoulder. "We have work to do. This castle holds secrets, and by all the powers of nature, we will unveil them." As Finn delved deeper into his magical research, Whisper continued his nightly explorations of the castle. The cat's keen senses were attuned to every creak, rustle, and whisper that echoed through the ancient stone halls. Each night, he ventured further, climbing higher, always alert for any clue that might solve the mystery. One particularly quiet evening, Whisper's ears pricked up at a faint sound coming from above. It was barely perceptible, a soft scratching that seemed to move across the ceiling. Without hesitation, the cat bounded up a spiral staircase, his paws silent on the worn steps. The sound led him to a dusty attic filled with forgotten furniture and trunks of old clothes. Whisper weaved through the clutter, following the noise. Just as he thought he was closing in, the scratching stopped abruptly. Frustrated but undeterred, Whisper made a mental note of the location. He would return tomorrow night. Over the next few nights, Whisper focused his investigations on the upper levels of the castle. He discovered a network of narrow passages between the walls, likely used by servants in ages past. These hidden corridors seemed to amplify and distort sounds, perhaps explaining why the noises seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere at once. During one of his forays into these secret passages, Whisper caught a glimpse of movement ahead, something small and quick, disappearing around a corner. He gave chase, his feline instincts taking over, but whatever it was eluded him in the maze-like structure. Whisper's adventures weren't without their challenge. One night, while balancing on a narrow ledge high above the castle courtyard, a sudden gust of wind nearly sent him tumbling. Only his quick reflexes and sharp claws saved him from a dangerous fall. Another time, he found himself trapped in a disused chamber when the doors swung shut behind him, forcing him to wait several anxious hours until a servant happened by to release him. Despite these setbacks, Whisper's persistence began to pay off. He noticed patterns in the nocturnal disturbances. The sounds seemed more frequent on windy nights, and often coincided with the tolling of the castle's great bell. Moreover, they appeared to emanate primarily from the castle's western tower, the oldest part of the structure, rarely used in modern times. Intrigued by this discovery, Whisper devoted several nights to exploring the western tower. The stairs were treacherous, worn smooth by centuries of use and now slick with dust. Cobwebs clung to Whisper's whiskers as he climbed higher and higher. Near the top of the tower, Whisper made a startling discovery. A section of the roof had partially collapsed, leaving a gap just large enough for a small creature, or a cat, to squeeze through. The opening was well hidden from below, but offered a clear view of the starry sky above. As Whisper investigated this breach, a sudden flurry of movement caught his attention. Something darted past him, so quick he could hardly make it out. But in that brief moment, Whisper caught a glimpse of leathery wings and a small, furry body. Excitement coursed through him. Could this be the source of the mysterious noises? Whisper spent the rest of the night staking out the opening, his green eyes glowing in the darkness as he watched for any further activity. When dawn began to break, Whisper reluctantly made his way back to Finn's chambers. His mind was buzzing with all he had discovered. He knew he was close to solving the mystery, but he needed to gather more evidence. As he curled up next to the sleeping druid, Whisper felt a sense of anticipation. Tomorrow night, he would return to the Western Tower, and this time he was determined to catch whatever creature was causing all this trouble. On the following night, Whisper set out with renewed determination. He made his way directly to the Western Tower, navigating the treacherous stairs with practiced ease. As he approached the gap in the roof, he moved with utmost stealth, his paws barely making a sound on the ancient timbers. Squeezing through the opening, Whisper found himself in a hidden nook formed by the intersection of several massive beams. Moonlit filtered through the gaps in the tiles, illuminating a scene that made Whisper's eyes widen in surprise. There, nestled in a crude nest of twigs, scraps of fabric, and what looked like strands of the king's own hair, was a mother bird. But this was no ordinary bird. Its body was covered in soft, tawny fur, and its wings were leathery like those of a bat. Huddled beneath her were 3 tiny hatchlings, their eyes still closed, mouths opening periodically in silent begs for food. Whisper recognized the creature immediately. A rare and elusive humming bat, a species known for its uncanny ability to mimic sounds. As he watched, the mother humming bat let out a series of chirps and rustles that sounded exactly like the noises that had been plaguing the king. The mystery was solved. The humming bats had made their home in the castle rafters, their nightly activities and vocal mimicry creating the ghostly disturbances that had so unsettled King Aldrich. Excited by his discovery, Whisper's first instinct was to pounce, but something held him back. The vulnerability of the tiny family, the way the mother protectively curved her wing over her babies, it stirred something in Whisper's feline heart. Now came the challenge: how to communicate this discovery to Finn. As dawn approached, Whisper made his way back to Finn's chambers, his mind racing. He found the druid already awake, preparing for another day of investigation. Whisper meowed insistently, trying to capture Finn's attention. "What is it, my friend?" Finn asked, noticing the cat's unusual agitation. Whisper jumped onto Finn's desk, scattering papers. Before the druid could protest, Whisper began batting at a quill, dipped it in ink, and making erratic marks on a piece of parchment. Finn's eyes widened as he watched Whisper's clumsy attempt at communication. "Are you trying to write something?" he asked incredulously. Whisper meowed in affirmation, continuing his efforts. The result was a messy scrawl, but among the ink blots, a crude shape was discernible, something that looked vaguely like a bird with bat wings. Finn leaned in close, studying the drawing. "Whisper," he said slowly, I think you've just made a breakthrough. Whisper watched intently as Finn studied the crude drawing on the parchment. The druid's brow was furrowed in concentration, his fingers stroking his chin pensively. A strange creature, Finn murmured. One I don't believe I've encountered before. Yet the way you've represented it, Whisper, suggests it may hold the key to our mystery. Whisper meowed urgently, prancing back and forth on the desk. He knew he needed to somehow convey the exact location of the humming-bat nest to Finn. But how? Suddenly, an idea struck him. Leaping down from the desk, Whisper padded to the door and gazed up at Finn expectantly. You want me to follow you? The druid asked. Whisper meowed in affirmation, then turned and headed out into the castle corridor, pausing to look back and ensure Finn was following. The cat led Finn on a winding path, climbing higher and higher until they reached the entrance of the western tower. Here, Whisper hesitated, watching the druid's face closely. Finn's eyes widened in understanding. This is where the disturbances have been focused, he murmured. You've discovered something, haven't you, my friend? Whisper meowed and bounded up the stairs, Finn close on his heels. As they neared the top, the druid's pace began to slow, the narrow, crumbling steps requiring more caution. Easy does it, Finn cautioned, one hand trailing along the wall for balance. We don't want any accidents up here. They finally reached the partially collapsed roof, and Whisper paused, gazing up at the opening. Finn followed the cat's gaze, his expression turning to one of wonder as he spotted the nest and its unusual occupants. Remarkable, the druid breathed. I've heard rumours of such creatures, but to see them with my own eyes. Whisper let out a soft trill, as if to say, I told you so. Finn chuckled and reached down to stroke the cat's fur. Well done, Whisper. You've solved the mystery. Just then the sound of approaching footsteps echoed up the tower's stairs. Whisper tensed, but Finn raised a calming hand. It's all right. I sent word to the king. He'll want to see this for himself. Sure enough, moments later, King Aldrich appeared, his regal bearing momentarily forgotten as he gazed in awe at the humming-bat family. Incredible, the king murmured. So this is what has been disturbing my sleep all this time. Finn nodded. It would seem so, Your Majesty. These remarkable creatures have made their home in the castle rafters, and their nocturnal activities, including their ability to mimic various sounds, have been the source of the strange noises you've been experiencing. Aldrich let out a long, relieved sigh. Then it is not a curse, nor some dark magical force, just nature taking its course. He smiled, some of the tension easing from his shoulders. I can certainly live with that, the king said, casting a fond glance at the humming-bat family. and I have you and Whisper to thank for uncovering the truth. Whisper purred, basking in the praise. His tireless investigations had paid off, and he felt a deep sense of satisfaction knowing he had helped restore peace to the kingdom. With the mystery solved, the next challenge became how to handle the situation delicately. King Aldrich was adamant that no harm come to the Hummingbat family, but the castle was no longer a suitable home for them. "These creatures are rare and precious," the king said, stroking his beard thoughtfully. "We cannot simply drive them out. They deserve a safe, undisturbed place to raise their young." Finn nodded in agreement. "I concur, Your Majesty, and I believe I have the perfect solution." The druid outlined his plan to relocate the Hummingbats to his own cottage, situated deep in the forest beyond the castle walls. The secluded dwelling, surrounded by ancient trees and a babbling brook, would provide an ideal habitat for the unusual creatures. "Whisper and I can carefully transport the nest and its occupants to their new home," Finn proposed. "With the proper precautions, I am confident we can ensure their safe passage." King Aldrich considered the idea, then smiled. "Very well, Master Finn. I entrust this matter to you. Ensure the Hummingbats are well cared for, and that they never again disturb the peace of my castle." Preparations began immediately. Finn gathered a sturdy wicker basket lined with soft fabric to cushion the nest. He also collected a selection of fruits and berries, the Hummingbats' favourite foods, to sustain them during the journey. Meanwhile, Whisper returned to the western tower, keeping a watchful eye on the mother and her hatchlings. The cat's presence did not seem to alarm the Hummingbats, and he took this as a sign that they would accept their new caretakers. When all was ready, Finn and Whisper made their way back to the tower, Finn approaching the nest slowly, speaking in a soothing tone. "Easy now, little ones," he murmured. "We mean you no harm. We're here to help you find a new home." Carefully, he eased the nest into the wicker basket, taking great pains not to jostle the sleeping hatchlings. The mother Hummingbat fluttered and chirped nervously, but Finn continued his reassuring murmurs. "Shh, it's all right," he soothed. "Whisper and I will take good care of you. Trust us." To Finn's relief, the Hummingbat eventually settled, covering her babies protectively. Whisper stood guard, his green eyes watching as Finn secured the basket. "Excellent work, my friend," the druid said, giving Whisper an approving pat. "Now let's get these little ones to their new home." The journey through the castle and out into the forest was undertaken with the utmost care. Finn moved slowly, mindful of every step, and Whisper kept pace at his side, alert for any sign of distress from the basket's occupants. As they finally neared the cottage, Finn had prepared a special roosting spot in the rafters, lined with soft mosses and twigs to mimic the Hummingbat's original nest. Carefully, he placed the basket in this new haven. watching as the mother hummingbat emerged and began to inspect her new surroundings. Whisper sat nearby, his tail twitching with interest as the creature unfurled her wings, stretching them in the warm afternoon light. The hatchlings soon followed, their tiny mouths opening in curious chirps. "There, you see?" Finn said softly to Whisper. "A new home, safe and undisturbed. The king's castle will know peace once more, and these rare creatures will thrive." Whisper purred in agreement, his eyes filled with a feline pride. Together they had solved the mystery and ensured a happy resolution for all. As the hummingbat family began to settle in, Finn knew that his and Whisper's work here was done. That night, as King Aldrich lay in his bed, he found himself drifting off to sleep with ease, his mind free of the restless agitation that had plagued him so long. No strange noises disturbed his slumber, just the peaceful quiet of the castle at rest. When he awoke the following morning, feeling refreshed and rejuvenated, the king could scarcely believe the transformation. He ordered for a royal envoy to go and fetch Finn and Whisper, to summon them to the throne room. When they finally arrived, he greeted them with a grateful smile. "Master Finn, you and your feline companion have performed a true service to the kingdom," Aldrich declared. "Thanks to your swift action, the hummingbat family has been safely relocated, and I've enjoyed the most restful night's sleep in months." The druid bowed humbly. "We were simply doing what was necessary to resolve the situation, Your Majesty. Whisper deserves much of the credit. It was his keen observation and clever communication that led us to the discovery in the first place." At the mention of his name, Whisper stepped forward, his green eyes shining with pride. King Aldrich chuckled and reached down to give the cat an affectionate scratch under the chin. "Then I owe you a debt of gratitude as well, my furry friend," the king said. "Your loyalty and persistence have served the kingdom well." Finn smiled, watching the interaction with obvious fondness. "Whisper is more than just a pet, Your Majesty. He is a treasured companion and trusted partner. I'm honoured to call him my friend." Aldrich nodded thoughtfully. "Then it is only fitting that I bestow upon him a special honour." Turning to Whisper, the king placed a gentle hand on the cat's head. "Whisper, for your invaluable contribution to the welfare of my kingdom, I hereby grant you the title of Royal Advisor. May your wisdom and insight continue to serve us well." A golden glow seemed to emanate from the king's touch, and Whisper let out a soft, contented purr. Finn looked on, his heart swelling with pride and affection for his feline companion. As Whisper basked in the king's blessing, Finn knew that their bond had been strengthened, forged through the trials of their shared adventure. They once again made their way back to the quaint cottage, renewed in spirit, but thankful for their cosy beds as they settled in for a well-deserved night's sleep.